Welcome back. Today we have City of Echoes plus 13 on Mythic as a Master of Harmony Brewmaster monk. The route is pretty much the same as the plus 12 I uploaded. Talents, I went down the Weapons of Order route just because I knew there's more packs so I can get more AoE damage. My gear, 24% versatility, 30% crit. I used a crit flask for this one, so I went up to around 35 or 37% crit. I'll probably get the boots crafted tomorrow. And here we go. So for this first pull, just pull all of this down to the stairs. Before the run, we kind of discussed how we wanted to handle this. If we were going to pull it all the way to the first mini or just down to the stairs. And I decided to pull it down to the stairs. There I messed up a little bit. I ran over the egg. Could have probably avoided that. I drop a Black Ox statue at the bottom of the steps just to kind of aggro any stragglers. The DPS was really good. They managed to pull threat off a couple of times. There, one of the crawlers kind of just jumps into everyone. And here come the flyers. These get a little bit annoying because it's a bit hard for me to get threat on them. So this group knew that since I'm a brewmaster, I'm a monk, I can kind of drop a ring apiece and they just have to kite them away and they'll just blow up by themselves. I let them know that they had to interrupt the casters before I can continue chain pulling. So they were really on top of that, as you can see in a little bit. It gets a little bit bonkers here, but to avoid it getting crazier, I decided to paralyze that attendant. We pull him in a little bit. There I'm pinging them to make sure that they can try to interrupt that. I pinged the wrong one, but they kind of knew what I kind of wanted. So as soon as everybody else drops, we come get this last attendant. I do not have an interrupt, so I'm trying to get it as close as I can to the first mini. There they knocked him away. I don't know what the reason was, but we still managed to maintain control. The DPS is really good. This Warlock impressed me a lot too. Normally because this Warlock spec isn't a meta spec per se, so I was really fascinated with all the DPS they did. And another thing is we had all ranged, which was pretty fascinating as well. So here I'm grabbing everybody. I kind of aggroed the attendant pack. I didn't mean to do that. I just wanted to grab everyone on the left first before going to the attendant pack. It makes it easier, just so I don't get poisoned and then potentially killed along the way. As you can see, the DPS is really good. I do get low a couple of times, but again, just using the same defensive tanking and healing combo. Celestial Brew into a Purifying into Expel Harm is more than enough to kind of keep you up. I used double defensive tank trinkets here. I don't think I needed to. I probably could have opted for like the Spyglass or another DPS trinket, but it's a pug. I wanted to play it safe. I didn't want to be the reason for bricking the key. It's kind of bad enough that pugging as a brewmaster is a bit rough. I didn't want to kind of make it harder on myself. And it's also nice to have an emergency defensive too, especially on the first boss. So here, I'm trying to get this one down. I get hit here. I ring a piece too late. But we had enough healing on myself to keep me out. And again there, we just let him die on its own. We move to the second mini-boss. So here what I decided to do was, while we're DPSing, when he does Call of the Brute, I just drop a Black Ox statue and try to get threat. And it kind of worked. I probably could have done it a little bit better. It worked. So I figured that's what I would keep doing, just because it's hard to keep all of the team grouped up so that I can aggro. As you can see, they're all casters and they all spread all over the place. So it makes it hard for me to get to those little guys.
Frontal.
So there, I do it again, and I managed to get aggro. And we're clearing them out. This attendant I pinged because this one's annoying. To get him from there to the other mini boss is a pain in the neck. So hasty provocations after my taunt, and then I knock him in, but still, it's not good enough. So I need somebody else to kind of interrupt them, and they do, and they knock them right into me, which is great. But then these pesky little flyers kind of make things a little bit hard. And I think the healer wasn't with us, now that I'm looking at it. So we probably did all of that without the healer for a good part. We probably stayed behind. But everything's fine. We do this pretty good. We also discussed that for any poisons here, I would dispel myself. Just so that the healer can save, or anybody else can save their own poison cleanse on themselves. I know that's kind of important too. This ribbon dare mount I got just pugging a time walking dungeon. Literally, it was on the last boss and I managed to get it. Lucky, I guess. So for this boss, I changed up the way I did it, or the way I do it now. In my previous video, I think I tried to pull the boss away from the eggs to avoid them being eaten. But what I did this time was I dragged it close enough to where my DPS can get the crawlers, and then also stay on the boss.
Watch your step.
I'm pretty sure they could have done it because they're all ranged, but it's something that I've been working on, and it helps a lot when we have a lot of melee. So I practice on it just so that it becomes like a habit for me. There, I do Celestial Brew into purifying, kind of tank that damage. There's silly me, I forgot to pull these earlier, so they get on me. They're wrecking someone over there. I think it's the Boomy. One of them is on the Boomy, so I managed to get them. So here's where I'm starting to get a little bit nervous, but we're fine. Maintaining control, I have threat. And the ads are dying. They're getting cleaved either way, but here they get pulled off again, and I'm just like, oh god.
Defensive.
I think here I was too close to him, to the eggs, so I got a little bit nervous and I tried to pull him away just so that I could stand in the acid rain and also keep my distance from them. I'm gonna throw in a little damage whenever I can. Probably didn't make much of a difference, but still.
Watch your step. Defensive.
Dare Celestial Brew into Expel Harm, into Purify. Tap me off after that. So it's a pretty good combo. Like once you learn it and you get it down, it'll keep you from dying. And if you change the order in which you do it, it also helps like mitigate more damage. So for example, if you Purify first into Celestial into Expel Harm, so you have shielding, you've already healed it 25% from all of the stagger you cleansed, and then you shield it a little bit more because you have the Purify and Brew stacks, and then you top it off with Expel Harm. So you really can't go wrong in the order that you do it, so that's also something good. Here, I ping at them to stay on the boss because I know we have the DPS to kill it. I did another 13 before this one, and we wiped here because one of our melee DPS decided to chase off after the eggs instead of staying on the boss. And the boss literally lived with 1 million HP, but he ate 3 of the eggs. The paladin only managed to kill 1, but Avanoxx managed to eat 3 of the eggs, I think, or 4 of the spawns, and it literally one-shot me in the next tank buster. And one of the range DPS was pretty upset at the paladin. I mean, it was his key; he bricked it on his own, but it's still a bit sad because we had the DPS to finish it strong. But luckily, I got into this group. This group was really good. The healer, amazing. The DPS, phenomenal.
Brunful.
I like that everybody's paying attention so that they know when to get away from these packs.
Brunful.
It gets a little bit spicy here though after we kill this blood guard and we start moving into the stag
Brunful.
area. Because I'm pinging them. I normally always spam a message saying that stag is the priority. So all DPS on the stag, just because we need to make sure that it doesn't kill anyone.
Crowd control.
The DPS was so good that they were
Crowd
really
control.
pulling threat off after like 1 second. But anyways, here the stag, I executed it. I wasn't gonna risk it, and the blood guard isn't around, so I probably could have pulled this pack together with the other one, but I decided to play it safe. You know, I'm not going to go too crazy. I know that the DPS is good, so
Crowd control.
I didn't need to start going crazy.
Crowd
All the little
control.
ads are dead. We only have the caster to worry about.
Crowd control.
The CC is good, so I'm trying to make sure that we can kill the stag.
Crowd control.
As you can see, I was getting a little bit nervous there, and I turned off my enemy plates. There, the blood guard comes in.
Brunful.
I don't know if it was spawned by the stag, but
Interrupt.
we still managed to get it down. Everything's going pretty smooth. I think I have yet to run this
Wonderful.
with a tailor so that we can get the web for the stun. I always see those dead bodies there that you can take a stun thing from, but I've yet to run with someone to use it. I know I saw the MDI where they did a tactic where they split the healer and the rogue DPS to take one mini boss down, and then the tank and 2 DPS took down the other. Crazy. I mean, it was a +9, but still,
Crowd
it was
control.
pretty crazy to see.
Crowd control.
I'm pinging them so they can get an interrupt on that, but I don't think anyone did. So I had to switch over to see if I could try and get something going on there. I just executed it there. I probably should have saved it, but I didn't want it to keep casting. And so here I did something really stupid. I should have waited for these to patrol towards us, but I said, you know what, whatever, F it. So that's 1 CC there, but then it gets crazy right here because they're pulling threat and I'm trying to CC this stag so it doesn't call anything,
Crowd control.
and the mage dies there. I think the mage got hit. There I'm going to die. I'm not sure how many defensives I used there, but I got a little bit scared because the mage came back and he gets hit twice. So he's about to die again, but luckily we managed to pull it through. Earth Elemental there came in for the save. But just to remove the extra stress, we definitely could have waited the other like 4 seconds to separate that pack from the stag, just so that we don't have to rush and use a lot of CC and cooldowns to try and get it down, while also trying to maintain interrupts.
Crowd control.
There, a quick paralysis just to get it
Crowd control.
to stop casting. Had to leg sweep because he was about to cast it,
Crowd control.
and then we get more AoE CC, but it is. I just had to execute it. Yeah. I know there's a skip you can do there. I think demon hunters can do it. You fly over and you trigger the boss, and then it pulls everybody down into the room, just so that you can skip this pack. I don't know how to do it. I wasn't gonna bother doing it. Our DPS was good, and we still need the count either way, so it worked out. Now that I'm looking back on this, I know my DPS is really low, and I can tell you that because I've seen other Brewmaster videos, and when they pull all of these packs, they're doing over 2 million damage. And there I am sitting at 1.1 or something, 900k. It's a bit silly. I think it has to do mainly with the fact that I'm running Master of Harmony, so I don't have Flurry Strikes, so I don't have that mass AoE DPS. But it feels so much safer. Just being able to have the other Celestial Brews, it helps. It helps. Especially in these pugs, it definitely helps. I need to look up and see who else is pugging and what other Brewmaster has gotten as high as I have, or higher, just doing pugs and not pre-mates. I'm hoping we'll get some type of buffs for Brewmasters at some point. It would be nice, but who knows. This Warlock was pumping. That's all I need to say. This Warlock was pumping. There I dropped the infestation at the edge, and then I just run into them. Just so that I can avoid them. I kind of almost die later on in this boss because I need to learn not to chase after the ad that's still up and kind of rely on my DPS to take it out. They're all ranged either way. But you'll see in a little bit that I stay in the swarm trying to DPS one down, and it doesn't go too well. I nearly die, but Fortifying Brew saved me so many times. So those are kind of small mistakes that I need to work on, but it, you know, it's always good to look back on the footage when I'm doing this just so that I know what I need to work on. I think it's here where I'm trying to get one and it's not happening.
Run out.
Yep, right there. I think the one defensive I don't use as much is Diffuse Magic. I probably could have used it a lot more here, especially when I get the infestation on myself. Touch of Death definitely comes clutch. It probably saved you like 5 seconds, but 5 seconds is 5 seconds. And so here I see that those carriers are there, so I roll in immediately to pull them in, just so I can get them and I don't have to wait for them to patrol back again, which is also something that can get a little bit annoying later on.
And the black blood will usher in a new age for Avanoxx.
They're interrupt, and I make sure that my team isn't getting caught in the webs. It's great that they're all ranged. Honestly, it's great. It's only me that has to worry about those things, those webs.
Watch
And
your
these little
step.
drones are annoying. That slow is a headache. You'll see right now what happens because of these drones. And honestly, it probably, well, yeah. It's just something that I need to kind of not get too overconfident about when I handle them, because I have Tiger's lesson. Clearly, I can remove the slow, but you know. So here I'm pulling both of these packs of drones together because the overseers are patrolling away. So trying to get as much damage into them as we can, just so that when the overseers come, we don't have to worry. But they're coming back fast. So here I'm thinking, as soon as they get there, I'm going to drop a statue and taunt all of them. I do that. I probably should have tanked them on the ledge down the stairs instead of on the stairs.
Watch your step.
Because this happens here, you see? It gives me no space to run. And not to mention the fact that I already used my Tiger's Lust. I can't move as fast. I have 2 stacks of the slow
Watch
on
your
me.
step.
And then this happens.
Watch
I
your
give
step.
him my back, I get hit with the webs, and I'm dead. The druid reses me. He goes into bear form, smart, to tank for a little bit while I get back.
Interrupt.
Get the aggro back. Our warlock
Watch your
died,
step.
sadly. So there I'm like kind of panicking, trying to get this to not fall apart. But again, never give your backs to these things and pick a better spot to tank them. Not the stairs, that's for sure. Down here would have been a lot better. It's more space for you to move around. And I'm just waiting for the DPS to get back. And while they get back, I noticed that we have to get those carriers, because if you don't kill them when you do the boss and you come close to the edge where the 2 overseers are, they'll pull in the middle of the fight. That's happened to me. So I'm just trying to make sure that we kill them. We don't need the count, but we do need to kill them just because they'll become a problem in the boss fight, and they will wipe us. And again, we're just trying to avoid any more mistakes. At this point, we've already made a few. But we're way ahead of the timer. We have 8 minutes left. The boss shouldn't take more than about 3 to 4 minutes. So we're taking it easy. In the beginning of the run, I told them like I'm gonna pull safe. I know if we have the DPS, we'll do it. We'll time it. We don't need to rush. Take a little warlock portal over. You know, again, the shaman playing it safe. Shaman wanted to drink, make sure that her mana was high. I respect it. No, we're not trying to make any mistakes here. And here we go.
Watch your
One of
step.
the easier parts here is that the erupting webs don't spawn all around the boss because everyone's range. And dispelling this poison is a lot easier. It gives everybody enough time to react, so I can dispel myself without having to worry. There I'm just hitting some of these just so I can get them up. Also, what you want to do is, when you see that she's about to cast the second Cosmic Singularity, you want to tank her away from the black pools, just so that they don't clip anybody. Her AoE doesn't clip anybody who's standing in any of the circles. Like, let's say for example she casts Singularity there, she's gonna clip that circle and both circles, the one on top and on the bottom. So you don't want to do it. You want to take her to a spot where she's not gonna clip any circles. Here I'm running around trying to aggro everything.
Dispel.
That's already the first erupting web, so you know that you have to start pulling her in a direction where she won't be on top of the black circles. So where I'm standing at is pretty fine. I can take one there, and everybody else has a pool around them.
Watch your step.
Here, I reacted a little bit slow because I was paying attention
Dispel.
to where everybody else was around me. There, I just dispelled immediately. I noticed that nobody was in immediate danger. Just keeping everything going. Trying to aggro everything, just go around and pick everything up.
Watch your step.
There I got a little bit nervous, so I used Fortifying Brew just in case. I didn't know if it was gonna clip me. It didn't, thankfully, but still, you never know.
Watch your step.
I'm just running around trying to collect all of these black pools. And the DPS is pumping. That Warlock, crazy, insane, really.
Watch your step.
And that's pretty much it. In the next 10 seconds, we'll have Bloodlust up. So, it's just GG after that.
Watch your step.
Somebody got pulled there. I think it was a mage, but he might have blinked out or something. I know as a monk you can use Transcendence as well. You can recast it as soon as you get pulled in, and it prevents you from getting hit. I haven't done it. I'll probably practice it in like a 10 before I do it in anything hard, actually. And that's pretty much it. One of the teammates, the Warlock, he managed to get 3k rating. And I got the Harvester's Interdiction, but I already have the Mythic Bound one, so I gave it up to the Boomy. And that's that. City of Echoes plus 13. Not so hard, one of the easier mythics, I'd say. And this is the damage charts. The whole team did pretty good. And for the healing charts, the Shaman, she did really well. I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully it'll be a Dawnbreaker or a Mist. Take care. Until next one.